You know, in this one I'm going to talk about YouTube and marketing and the entertainment business in general. There's kind of a YouTube sent me a thing yesterday with they sent it to, by my calculations, that 1% of people respond to spam emails, basically around 40 million people. But anyway, it's a thing inviting you to take a course on how to get more hits and subscribers for your YouTube channel, which it seems great for people just starting out. I mean, the first thing that I commented on there, a lot of people have thumbs up my comment. My comment was, it's irrelevant how good the content you make is for YouTube. And let me be really clear, these vlogs don't deserve a lot of hits. These are sort of a companion piece to another thing I do. These vlogs are real low budget, just so I can kind of keep in touch with people. I don't feel like they deserve to go viral or anything. They never would in my wildest dreams, and that's not my aim with these. But the misconceptions about the entertainment business in general is that the good stuff always rises to the top, and that's just not the way it works. It's the same with YouTube. And also that there's a certain sense of fairness. I've received a bunch of comments from this comment I left on YouTube's video. But the thing is on that is that even there's a thing called marketing engineers. All this blew me away when I figured it out. I've said it before, the only reason we know about Christopher Columbus as the guy who discovered America and the New World is that his son was a well-known writer. And the only reason we know about Pink Floyd, U2, Led Zeppelin, they were great bands, but they're not necessarily the greatest. They were the most marketed and the ones that so there's like really no fairness to it. The reason an actor goes on the Tonight Show, I used to think, oh, isn't that Robert Downey Jr. such a nice guy to go on the Tonight Show and talk about Iron Man? You know, well, the truth is, it's in his movie contract to go on and do a publicity tour for any movie that he's in. You know, it's a business, and people have commented a bunch about, well, it would be more fair to do things this way, and it would be this would be right, and this would be fair, and this would be proper. It's not. YouTube is a business and an entertainment business just like any other, and anybody can get a huge unfair advantage on YouTube by simply paying. It's about, you know, a reasonable amount would be $10 a day. You could go to $10,000 a day to have your videos watched on YouTube. So that's not really fair, if you want to call it a fair thing. It's not about fairness. It is a business, and you know, there's just so much stuff there. But it does seem like, oh yeah, the good stuff definitely rises. Well, that's just not the case. Like I said, even major, I think I said this, even major Hollywood movies, Iron Man, the trailer they paid to have that played. They found out that even if they put the trailer to the new Iron Man 3 on the internet, it doesn't just go viral. Those companies put hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing the trailers so that they get watched and viewed. So there's a lot of maddening stuff about YouTube. You know, one of my other sites is when and this is not my first YouTube rodeo. I've been doing this since '05, and I've produced a couple of sites that had mega millions of hits and so on. So you know, but one of my sites was a side note to one of the mega million sites that I produced, and we're talking other people's content, you know, produced type deal, and designed and administrated and consulted on major sites. But I started personal sites, not personal, you know, band sites or whatever. But one of those sites, since '05, like 7-8 years now, has gotten around 100,000 hits. Let's call it 10 years for 100,000 hits. That would take, you know, it'll average 100,000 hits in 10 years. In other words, 1 million hits would take that 100 years. So you can kind of see the numbers, and it's kind of like somebody saying outer space is big. I'm prepared, no charts or graphs or anything. The numbers on YouTube are staggering, but unless you accidentally get something and there's a lot of factors. I think, you know, YouTube will eventually start putting, I don't even think they pay any attention to what's on YouTube. It's a numbers game. They could care less. Everything you receive from them is automated. There are now 1.3 billion YouTube users. A billion is 1,000 million. So I don't even think they understand or know what it is, and that it will eventually become a very important, significant site for teaching, learning, history, archival, historical, everything, you know, science, you name it. They don't care. What they're trying to do is make as much money as possible off of it. I think that they should, and they will, eventually have people paid by them to and YouTube employees that and my hunch is they might kind of do this secretly now, because there's all kinds of issues with starting to prefer one type of file over another. Unless they're getting paid for it, they could care less. So you can make any video go viral if you want to pay for it, and not even truly viral. It's paid for. It's advertising, you know. But I think YouTube would be well served to send people, have them sit down all day and do nothing but pick stuff that's actually unknown but great, and then make that rank higher in the search engines, tag it in some way, because they manipulate every bit of this data. That's another thing that'll eventually come to an end as people become more computer hip. And you know, it's a volume game. They don't care about people setting up fake accounts and haters. If there's 1 million YouTubers, or 1 billion, I'm sorry, 1.2 billion, that means that 1% of all of those accounts are kind of fake, hater, or just ridiculous nonsense, you know, fake accounts, who knows, slugs. That means that that 1% equals 100 million accounts. So I'm a little groggy. I think that's right. 1% of 1 billion. Anyway, they're not served by deleting all of those accounts, which they could easily filter all that information out. But for every hater on there, I mean, it's the haters generate money, and there's not that many, really. I rarely get them anymore. There was one guy on that thread just heckling the crap out of people. You know, one of the first things I learned on YouTube is about the sort of spitefulness and rage and jealousy and kind of thing that goes on, where I commented on somebody's you never use a real profile or keep your mouth shut on YouTube. Somebody was on one of the Vivo threads, was defending Vivo and saying, well, no, somebody, one of those idiots, somebody has to pay for this, and Vivo's a good thing, and, you know, and it's like, dude, you are so misguided, you know. So I didn't even say anything mean. This is several years ago. For my real account, I just said, and God knows, I posted as a reply to him defending Vivo and commercials and crap. I replied to him, and God knows YouTube or Google could use the money. You know, they're hurting. Well, I happened to be looking at my music site, and seconds later, thumbs down started appearing on all of my videos, and that's when I learned, oh, you know, this is a not a fair place. Can be a spiteful place. Overall, it's a great place, but there's some issues. But yeah, you know, it's a volume game. If I worked for YouTube and they said, hey, sell ads for our site, and in one scenario you can tell people that YouTube gets 6 billion hits a day and this type of video that they want to put their ad on, gets 9 million of those. Or in another scenario, we can take away all the fake accounts and all the haters and all the stupidness and sort of legitimize things, but you can only then legitimately say that 3 million people a day hit this type of video. So it's obviously I'd want to present the idea to a prospective client that 9 million people a day hit that type of video with the haters, 3 million without them. And it's not that much, but it's just an example of inflating the numbers. But there's a lot of insanity on YouTube. But no, there's two things, and plus, there's certain stuff that sells itself. I mean, one of the women was a cutesy girl who had one of those "Yay, I'm pregnant" vlogs, and it was kind of funny how several of the people who commented on my comment, which is at the top now, so everybody sees that, and how those people sort of all considered that they were making excellent content, and like hers is okay and the other guy's is okay. There's several people who commented on it. It's like it's nowhere near stuff that should get a whole lot of views. I felt they all had way too many views for what they're wanting to get more, and they're really not. It's just at the very low end of mediocre, but yet almost professional content. Their stuff. And this is a budget vlog. This is by no means professional. These are, me talking content driven, but and that has a very limited appeal. So, but yeah, there's a lot of craziness. But people, it's not fair. YouTube is not fair, and there's just because something's good, it's not going to rise to the top. And one of the huge problems with it is that there are 70 hours uploaded every minute. So as one marketing engineer said, when you put a video on YouTube, A, nobody will be able to find it, and B, nobody gives a damn. Nobody cares, because you're on equal footing with people with 100 million kids with cell phones promoting shots of their tennis shoes, and everyone feels, because they're not professionals for the most part, they sort of feel like this deserves many more views and so on. When, I mean, how many times have you seen a video on YouTube that deserves, this one might be a great example, and well, I don't get many hits on these, I don't want many hits on these, they're sort of for friends, but it's so no, there's no fairness, and there's no, you can pay at any time around $10 a day per video, get you started, and receive thousands of times more hits. It is a for-profit company, but there seems to be this mistake that good stuff rises to the top, and that there's fairness on YouTube, and they present it as a kiosk, really, where you present your materials and you're on your own until you pay them. And that's really because they have a tiger by the tail. There are now there are 72,000 YouTube users for every employee at Google, so they don't have control of it, and it's cheaper for them to just let it run itself. And a certain number of people will show up to watch it. I think that'll cap out, and as it becomes sort of known as like, well, YouTube's kind of cool, but and it's already almost there, it'll cap out at growing, I think, at some point, because people will just go, it's a complete waste of time, you can't find anything, you can't ever, it's garbage, there's haters and so, but they're learning, they're growing, it's new, and I don't even know if the product sells itself. So anyway, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, but the bottom line is, no, it's not, it's a business, it's not based on fairness. And no matter how good, like I said, one of my other sites with identical videos that are being marketed now gets thousands of hits and comments, daily, and the same site that is not marketed, it's rare, maybe it'll get 20 comments a year, not very many hits. Like I said, it'll take 100 years to get 1 million hits. at 100,000 hits every 10 years, you know. So there's a lot of numbers there. The numbers are astronomical, and I'm not particularly good. I don't have a chart in front of me, but read through the YouTube numbers sometime. It's one of the most astounding engineering feats in the history of people. The handling of these of this system and these files. It's an engineering feat unlike any other ever. I don't really think people realize that yet, but it's coming along. But anyway, those aren't really, it's kind of my 2 cents, but it's also just the